What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you some Kashtira combos that you're definitely going to want to know if you're wanting to play Kashtira, or if you're going to be playing against it, you're going to need to know these. So we're just going to do some random test hands. That way it'll be more realistic. Typically any hand can get you there. So in this particular hand, this is like a really good hand. Good opening hand. So shifter, let me talk about shifter for a minute. Here is the issue with shifter. If like this hand in particular, we can do a lot of different things, and sometimes you can hold your shifter until the end and wait until your opponent's next turn, and then you get 2 turns on your shifter. The issue with that is Call by the Grave is a thing, and Dimension Shifter is a thing also. Plus with this, we might end up having to detach. We might have to use something. This particular hand might end up being means for a Baron. We might put up a Baron this play. So I'm going to work with this hand and show you what I would do. I would go ahead and activate shifter in the draw phase just because it's very safe. So we're going to start off, we're going to activate Planet. If this goes through, we're not worried about Droll here. The only thing we have to worry about is Ash at this point. So they don't have Ash. Special summon effect. We turned off their Veiler. All we have to worry about is Imperm or Mourner. So this goes through. We're gonna grab Birth. So I'm gonna grab Birth. We're gonna actually hold the Birth, honestly. So we're gonna normal summon Mourner. I'll show you. So I'm not doing the Heat Soul line. This is one of those hands where you could do the Heat Soul line, but I wouldn't recommend it. This is just one combo, and this isn't the only combo, so I'm going to talk about some other ways that we could go with it before you start whining in the comments. So a Baron, I just think a Baron's a very strong card, so now we activate Birth. We grab back the Unicorn. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, this isn't really that strong. And if you're thinking that, then you're right, because you can't get the Kashtira Fenrir out. But you have this, you have a Baron Omni Negate, and you have no hand traps in hand. So it's a little weaker play, but if you have the threat of like evenly or something, you kind of have to go for this play. It's the play you have to go for. So anyways, let's go back, get the Baron out of the mix. We're going to do it a different way. So we're going to go here to where we grab the Birth. We're going to activate the Birth. We're going to normal summon the Fenrir. Normal summon the Fenrir. Effect. Grab a Rise Heart. So Rise Heart. We can special summon the Rise Heart. Effect will banish the top 3 of their deck. And then we will banish the Ogre. So I'm going to show you some different lines here. In this particular line, we are locked into Xyz at this point. We have a Mourner in hand and a useless Terraformer. This could be anything, though. Hopefully it would be like an Imperm or something. So we're going to special back out the Ogre. If you're trying to play under Nib, do not do this part. But because when we have Planet and Birth, we typically want to go for Shang. But I'm just going to show you I'm going to show you the risky play. So the risky play would be to set prep. This board right here, and I don't like leaving him in defense because he has very low defense for whatever reason. The safe play is just a pass here if you really care about this prep, but we don't have another name in hand, so it's not going to do a lot for you. So I would make Shang because we would have some more interruptions. So you can get any of these back out. So I would go with the strongest interruption is going to be Ogre and this, especially against Snake Eyes. So then we can get back the Unicorn in the draw phase. I mean the standby phase of the next turn. We have Shifter online, and then we have, hopefully this will be 2 hand traps, but we have 1 in this case. We have the prep interruption, so if they top deck an Imperm and try to Imperm it, we're still going to be able to interrupt them, look at their hand. We'll have the Birth, which isn't going to do much now because we are under Shifter, so Birth is not as strong. But it's still follow-up, and it forces them to deal with this. They have to deal with Birth, or it's going to be a bad day. So let's go back a couple times. which is the combo I kind of like under Shifter. So we're gonna go back to where we had Rise Heart and Unicorn. We're gonna go all the way back. So instead of dumping the Ogre, we're gonna dump the Tier Cache. So we're under Shifter. We've already banished 3 of their cards. Special summon this back out. We're gonna mill 3 of their cards, and guess where they're gonna go? The banish pile. And they have a hard time recouping, especially like Snake Eyes, and then even just a lot of rogue strategies. You're getting rid of 6 of their cards. That's a lot of their deck. That's almost 20% of the average deck. I mean, 15%, whatever the math is. And then you can still, if you do this route, you definitely have to play in Nib, because Tier Cache and these 2 are not interruptions. So then you would still end on this, but this actually ends up on about the same board. And then in the draw phase, in the standby phase, you would summon out the Ogre. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you can lock zones like basically 3 times. You'll be able to lock 3 zones, and you'll be able to lock 3 zones. In this case, you'd have a hand trap. You'd be under Shifter. This board, if you set this board up, it's going to be very hard for them to beat. And you're also going to banish another card, so you will have banished 7 of their cards. That's crazy, okay? So, anyways, that's just one combo line. All right, let's go back all the way. We're going to say that Shifter is not in the mix. And this, I'm not going to show any of the decode line stuff, just because I don't have it in this deck right now, and I'm not really a big fan of it. I do think you might as well play it, because there's really nothing better you can play. So we're going to start this combo off with just a unicorn. Just one unicorn. One unicorn is all you need most of the time. You would love to see unicorn plus Theosis, but we'll go unicorn, effect, grab Theosis. If all you have is this, you're going to grab Theosis here. Theosis. You're locked into Xyz now. And we grab Fenrir. Effect. Grab Rise Heart. It's very rare that you're not going to have 2 card combos in this deck, though, so don't worry too much about that. Special. Banish top 3. Banish top 3. If that was all you open, that means you have probably a lot of hand traps. So in this case, we don't have Birth or Planet. So we're going to banish their top 3. We're going to take these 2. You have some options here. Let me show you your options. So you can just leave all these bodies on the field. Or in this case, even though this is like one of the only situations where you would make Shang just for no reason, because you'll be able to get a body that can't be destroyed. Like, he's gonna have destruction protection, and it forces them to deal with that. So you would have this. You would also have Fenrir on the standby phase, and then hopefully, if your hand was that bad as far as like names and stuff, you'd have a lot of, hopefully you'd have like Shifter and at least a couple hand traps or something. So on their turn, you would go and get out a Fenrir. So at this point, you'd have 2 interruptions, 2 zone locks, and you'd be surprised if you can lock 2 zones. It will come up if it's the right link zones and stuff like that, like under the link zones, depending if you know what your opponent's playing. And a lot of times, you're going to at least survive. And if they don't deal with this, then you're going to get Birth, and then you're just playing ball. You get Birth, you get back whatever they got rid of. You're just going nuts. So, or you could even top deck a Birth as long as you survive. And like I said, this has destruction protection, so you're usually in a good spot. But now let me show you a 2 card combo. All right, guys. So now I'm going to show you another combo This one is you just open up with Unicorn and a Rise Heart. Or you can do this with another name, but you're gonna have to have access to special, to normal. We're gonna special summon Unicorn, grab Birth, grab Birth. Now you can hold that in hand. Normal summon the Rise Heart effect. It's very critical here that you banish Fenrir. Banish Fenrir here because he's a searcher, so you're gonna want him. Where is he? There he is. You're gonna I'm sorry you can't see the banish pile, but it's right there. We're just gonna banish it right there. You're banishing Fenrir. Now we're gonna go into Dracosack. Dracosack. You're going to detach the Unicorn. Now you're going to make some tokens. We can make the tokens. Just pretend the tokens are there. You still got Birth in hand. And we're going to make IP Masquerena with the tokens. So now you're going to activate Birth. This play also, it does play in a nib. So we're at 4 summons here. Yeah, we're at 5. So if you get nibbed here, you at least have this. And then you can end on different plays. But we're going to assume they don't nib us here. So we're going to go Birth. Activate Fenrir effect. And you're going to grab Scare Cash. Where's that? Scare Cash. So we're going to special the Scare Cash, banishing the Unicorn that's in the grave. So you have some options here. You can just end on this, or you can. You're not locked. At any point here, you have not become locked. So you can also end on this, this, and this. The danger with this is you're not going to be able to make as big of an Appaloosa. And you could also just straight up end on an Appaloosa here. You could just straight up end on an Appaloosa with these 3. So it would just be a 3-mat Appaloosa, a Fenrir, you'd have Birth, and hopefully you have quite a few hand traps to follow up with. But you could also just hard end on an SP, or you could just leave this on board and pass turn, and then once you see what they're doing, what they're playing, then you can make that decision on what you're going to go into. Because, I mean, this is a big, beefy body. You got the Fenrir banish, and then you got the Scare Cash. This card comes up a lot, believe it or not. So a lot of people would try to make Shang. And the problem with making Shang here is it doesn't really do anything. I mean, yeah, you'll get to lock like one zone, but that's just stupid. So locking one zone is not going to win the game for you. Now, if you start locking like 3 or 4, it's serious. So the other option you can do, which gets you to the same outcome almost, depending on if you have another name in hand that maybe you couldn't use for whatever reason, you would just grab, well, you would grab the Ogre wherever it's at. I guess I lost the Ogre. Where is the Ogre? Where'd I put the Ogre? Okay, I have lost the Ogre. How did I lose the Ogre? Oh, here it is. You would grab the Ogre, special summon. You would no, I'm sorry. You couldn't grab the Ogre here because you've already used up your, you've already used up your normal summon, so you kind of have to go with this one. Yeah, you could grab Tier Cash. That is an option, and do the same thing and banish like 3 of their cards. Instead, you could use Tier Cash and then banish 3 of their cards. But it's up to not banish 3 of their cards, but put 3 in the grave, which sometimes that's good and sometimes that's not so good. So this particular play either ends on a SP or an Appaloosa. Where'd that go? I didn't put that up. Yeah, That's usually your safest play though, because this is going in on an SP or an Appaloosa. This is only really to be done if your hand's just kind of trash. Okay, another one. Another combo that if you only get Fenrir. This kind of sucks, not gonna lie. Like, if you just have Fenrir, this is usually your weakest play. Like, literally, your weakest play. But hopefully you would have hand traps, maybe shifter. So we would special summon the Fenrir, effect. We're gonna grab... Now, if you got Birth, that changed the whole thing. I mean, it's full combo. But typically you're gonna grab Rise Heart, special Rise Heart, banish 3. Now, at this time... this is one of the only other times that you would end on Shang. So, this is one of the only other times you would end on Shang. Because, like I said, you have the destruction protection. You can probably get out another Fenrir. And then it would look something like this on their turn. And hopefully you'd have a bunch of hand traps, maybe be under shifter. You know, you'd be able to lock one zone, but that's not going to do enough. Typically, if this is all you have, it's not going to be that good. But there's a lot of different hands. Okay, so let me just show you the G Golem, not the G, the Link, the Heat Soul combo. And I just don't like it, just to be honest. I do not like it. So it requires either Planet or Unicorn. And typically I wouldn't go for it if I didn't already have another name in hand. So let me find another name. Where's Rise Heart? Rise Heart. You can also go the same line to the decode line. So you would special this, effect, you're gonna grab Birth. I really wouldn't even go for it if I didn't already have Birth. So if I didn't already have Birth in hand, like 3 names, like if this wasn't my hand, I probably wouldn't even go for it. And especially if I had shifter, you just can't go for it. So that's just another reason I don't like it. It just kind of conflicts too much, and it plays in a nib really bad. I mean, of course you get a little bit of follow-up back, but let's just assume we did have the Birth. So we're gonna grab the Theosis. So we're gonna normal summon the Rise effect. We're going to for sure dump the Fenrir here to the banished pile, banish their top 3. We're gonna go into, and you're gonna have to forgive me, my Heat Soul's in another place right now. It's in some other deck box and I don't feel like digging through. So what you detach here really doesn't matter. I'd probably detach the Unicorn, that way you can probably get it back eventually. Now we would make the tokens, we would put Link Spiders on them. You can't do this under shifter. So then we would make this, the Crystal Heart, get this back from the graveyard. Now we would go into the, with these you would go into the Heat Soul. We're just gonna say this is Heat Soul. I know it's not Heat Soul, but we're gonna say this is Heat Soul. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna wonder what's going on. So you're gonna draw one, and if you haven't gotten nibbed at this point, you're in a good position. So this is when you're like, dang, this is working out. So you're gonna go Birth the Fenrir back, effect of Fenrir. You're gonna grab Scare Cash. You have some options here. If you're just like, yeah, they're not nibbing me, bro, I ain't worried about nib. One thing you can do before this is you can go into the Apo. So if they didn't nib you there and you're like, maybe they're waiting, you can do this. So now you can get Birth back the Fenrir effect, grab Scareclaw Cash. Scareclaw Cash, you're gonna remember this was decode, not Shangir. I just don't have it in this particular build. But I am gonna put it back in there. I do think it's good, but I don't think it's great. Let me put it that way. Now we're gonna banish something with the Scareclaw, probably the Unicorn, because it really don't matter. I mean, we can get it back, bring this out. We're gonna go Theosis, grab grab Ogre, grab Ogre, effect of Ogre, set the prep. Let me put that out of the shining. So now at this point, we were protected under Nib the whole time. We don't have to worry about Nib. We have 2 negate Appaloosa. And we also can make, we have a banished, this guy's banished right here, the unicorn. So he can come back off of preparations. So now you do have the option here, because these guys on their own ain't that good. You're gonna get this back. So here, but I would probably keep the Ogre just so you have an extra disruption. So you're gonna go Shang over the Fenrir and the Era, Shang Era. If we had Planet, this would be even better. But we have prep set here. We have this, and then we're gonna get back a Fenrir. And then we're also going to get back a unicorn. So we're going to have all of this on the field. So we will have, because we're going to get this off the prep, this off the Shang. So we're going to have 3 banishes. We're going to have 2 monster negates. We're going to have the birth to get rid of their graveyard. And we're going to have the extra draw off of Heat Soul. You could have left the Heat Soul. But you would... before you use Theosis, you would have to do that. You know, you'd have to make this. And there would be no chance for getting Appaloosa on the next turn. So, I think it's best to make the Appo now and just go for 1 draw. But if your hand's really bad, you can leave on the field and get 2 draws. But I think this is better. Because, I mean, you got a Fenrir banish, you got a Unicorn banish out of the extra deck, you got this banish from their deck. You're going to lock 3 zones. You're going to banish off this. Possibly lock 4 zones with this, possibly 5 if they hard draw the Imperm and Imperm this. You can lock 5 zones, and that's freaking crazy. So yeah, this is probably your ultimate play. Just honestly, this is probably your ultimate in board. Another one I do want to show you is in time. This is one you can make, and I'm just going to show you this, and you already know it, but I'm just going to show y'all anyway because it's a good one. I like it. So you can put like some pressure on the board without your other stuff. So if you want to be just really, really greedy, say we get Planet and say we have another name in hand. It really needs to be Fenrir here. So we'll go activate Planet, we'll grab the Unicorn, special the Unicorn effect. We're going to grab Birth, activate Birth effect. Oh my gosh. I mean, normal summon Fenrir effect, grab Rise Heart, special effect, banish. You can banish the Ogre. If you want to just be really risky with cash, it can pay off, but you're going to banish the Ogre, birth back the Ogre effect. We're going to grab the preparations, set the preparations. So now here is your board. And you're like, well, that's pretty cool. So, especially like game 3 situation, this is a really good one to put some extra pressure on the board. So we'll go these 2 into this. You should always make Shang if you have Birth and Planet up, honestly. I think that's your best bet. This does play in a nib though, so if you don't think you need it, don't do it. And then you could go into this. Keep in mind, this cannot be destroyed by Lightning Storm. It cannot be destroyed by anything that destroys it. It just can't be. It cannot be destroyed by card effects. So, and it can't be run over by like a Fenrir. I mean, it can banish, but I mean, what are they going to do? Skip their battle phase? Game 3? No. So, this is just a way to put a lot of pressure on the board. Hopefully, you would have a few hand traps in hand. This is one of them where you would only do it in certain situations where you really needed to get time. Because if they use like an Imperm You can activate this in draw phase, if they say they have, but you can't use it if they, you'd have to have this already up, so typically you're gonna do that first, but they have turn player priority, so. Anyways, potentially you could rip their hand, banish, you're gonna get back a Fenrir in the standby phase, so, I mean, this is a pretty menacing inboard when they're trying to go in for time. I mean, they're gonna burn themselves a lot. Like, it's gonna be crazy. Like, they're gonna have to do something. Especially, this is only something you would do if there's like 3 minutes on the clock or something, you know, something like that, where they have to win in their main phase, pretty much. And you're just like 500, 500, 500, 500, 500. The only thing that beats this is a top deck imperm. And even at that, you still got a planet pop, a Fenrir banish, a birth banish. You're gonna lock 2 zones. I mean, that's just, then you still have the bodies. You still have the bodies on board. It's a pretty good way to lock down a game. But anyways, guys, this video was pretty long. I hope you got something out of it. And I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you on the next one.